Peace and blessings. So, Maryland Governor Wes Moore made a bold move. He decided to pardon 175,000 people who had been convicted of marijuana offenses. Many of them have been convicted of low-level marijuana possession. And, this brother decided to pardon those individuals. And I think that this is a step in the right direction. It's a great move on the part of the governor. And this, again, shows you why elections actually matter. The decisions of these elected officials have real and tangible impacts on our lives. So these elections matter, and we need to exercise our right to vote and be informed about the issues. So I want to point out a couple of things. Michelle Alexander has a profound book entitled The New Jim Crow. And in that book, she talks about how the old Jim Crow system has been replaced with a new Jim Crow system. Under current law, people can be discriminated against for past criminal offenses, even including offenses dealing with marijuana. And we know that in this country right now, marijuana has been legalized all over the country. Even though it's not legal on the federal level, many states have basically legalized it. And those states include Maryland. So with that being said, there are still people that are facing penalties because of past convictions involving marijuana. And as Michelle Alexander points out in her book, people that have these drug offenses on their record can be discriminated against in various ways in this society. They can be denied job opportunities, they can be denied educational opportunities, and they can be denied housing opportunities. So by pardoning these individuals, the governor is breaking the shackles of this continued discrimination that many Black people face as a result of these convictions for drug offenses. And this comes at a great time. This is around the time of Juneteenth, and we know that that's a holiday celebrating the liberation of Black people from slavery. And there are a couple of very important statistics that need to be pointed out when it comes to these marijuana convictions. As the Washington Post points out in their recent article about this news development, they say that Black people were more than 3 times more likely than white people to be arrested for marijuana. And they also point out how 70% of the men that are incarcerated in Maryland are Black men. And this article also pointed out how 1/4 of those pardoned are from Baltimore City. And we know that Baltimore City is a predominantly Black city in Maryland. So these things matter. This decision to pardon people is going to have a positive impact on many Black people. Many Black people are going to be pardoned, and they're going to be able to live their lives without having to face, this ongoing discrimination that prevents them from moving on in their lives. This discrimination in employment and housing, all that does is bring people back into the criminal justice system. And it's time for us to break those shackles of the new Jim Crow. And one thing that really has to be pointed out, I was having a discussion with my lady this morning about this particular issue. And one of the things that's obvious is that, this prison industrial complex is basically another form of slavery. And the 13th Amendment says that, it ended involuntary servitude except for situations where people have been convicted of crimes. And we see that a lot of our people have been disproportionately targeted and disproportionately convicted of crimes dealing with the drug trade. And we know that in communities where people are deprived of education, deprived of opportunity, they often end up finding themselves resorting to the drug trade in order to make a living, in order to survive. And because of that, a disproportionate number of Black people end up locked up in the criminal justice system. and they end up being the new slaves. In this era where we celebrate freedom and all this and that, our people are incarcerated and subjected to modern day slave conditions. So, this is a positive development. I'm glad to see this brother make this bold move. Nobody should be locked up for some marijuana. It should be legal on the federal level. I don't condone marijuana use, but there are a lot of things that I don't condone. It doesn't mean that those things should be illegal. So I'm really interested in hearing from y'all. What do y'all think about this development? Peace and blessings. Have a great day.